Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 13th of May. Only few days left for our big day. And today we are having a new guest arriving, two monks and two lay devotees. So monk from Vietnam arriving with a devotee at 6:35 in the evening, and a monk arriving from Wat Prasing, Rongkhon, 5:30, and then Nit from London, or Nelly, arriving here 20 to 2 in the afternoon. So we are having these members coming. So Venerable Karuniko and a devotee and a monk from Rongkhon will be staying Gavin's house. Gavin is having a company.
Better get clean then.
Yeah. So they're staying with Gavin. I need beddings for one monk, one or two.
How many people are staying? Three.
Three. Two monks, one lady. Two beddings needed.
Yeah.
Pillow and a bedding. So need to take with you for them. So you're going to pick up Nit.
I'm going to get new this afternoon,
Okay. And then you may have to go to collect the monk as well in train station. Or maybe I will ask someone. Train station. Before the Vietnamese monk, I have to go by myself to pick him up. And then you can take him from the temple. And tomorrow is quite a tricky one. Tomorrow is MOT, car MOT.
yeah. And I'm going to be there and I'll close tomorrow.
What time are you going?
9:30, 10.
So in that case, after chanting, I will drop off and bring me back to center before you go. Is that okay? No. And then other 4 monks arriving in the evening. Okay, so this is good that June made this spreadsheet to see all the details. So it's easy for me to track and organize members to help me out. Yeah, so this, and then today need to finalize these accommodations. Still troubled, couldn't finish it, but now I got a clear picture after June helped me last night. Alright, so Nelly is also traveling to Aberdeen today, and we will be blessed to have you. Right, so today is Wednesday the 13th of May. Today's topic of the Dhamma is about the wrong business. The wrong business here, basically Buddha, what is the Buddhist concept on a wrong business? I think we have touched it before.
But being a preacher,
but anyway, we'll go again, we'll speak again. So today's topic is wrong business. In the context of Buddhist economics, it's generally approached through ethics rather than through wealth maximization. And again, it doesn't mean that the Buddha denies what's called not support to be rich. Buddha did support on that and maximizing the wealth. But traditional emphasis or the Buddha's Buddha's approach is more onto the reducing suffering, cultivating moderation and using these material resources in a way that support moral and spiritual development, which is completely different in the modern world. Number one, it's not through the ethics. It's a rather more maximization of the wealth in any way possible, with the greed of getting rich and rich, which is the reason why we have a chaotic world at the moment, and lots of corruptions going on in all sorts of ways. Particularly, each governments are also focusing on the maximization of the wealth than the ethical practices, which is hence the reason why every politicians are again working for certain companies or certain big giants, businessmen, rather than they worry about the country itself. By that, lots of changes takes place in a short period of time, and that shocks the entire world for entire country for many decades to come. And each party plays a vital role in that massive changes. And that's simply because it's based on the maximization of the wealth rather than the ethics. Similarly, all the businesses, again, based on the maximization of the wealth, hence the reason why there is a competition going on at all the time. And world that we are living in such a competition and a maximization of the wealth, we are also become conditioned to it and unable to avoid being part of that system. Whereas Buddha's teachings is about emphasizing how one can reduce suffering, in which way one can reduce suffering, whether the physical suffering or the mental suffering. And then the moderation, mattanyutta, moderation is the key, that how one is consuming things, whether the food, whether the clothes, whether any material use. Buddha is teaching us to be moderate in that consumptions. And further on, the world that always encourages us, or all the advertising companies are trying to use material as much as possible, or the natural resources or material resources as much as possible. And that's again coming down from the maximization of the wealth. And which is the reason why lots of pollutions are developed and so on. So that's why this is again, when we look at the world that going through the maximization of the wealth, the Buddha is completely in a different mood or a different stream of the world, that teaching us that rather than a maximization of the wealth, one should live ethically and morally, which reduces the sufferings in us. Now when we talk about the businesses, then again it comes down under the Eightfold Noble Path. It's called a Samma Ajiva. This principle comes from Samma Ajiva, are encouraged to earn living. So here that's why I say that Buddha did not deny to be rich or get to be rich. So Buddha is simply encouraging earning without causing any harms to one or to the members of a community and to the world. So the Buddha kind of prohibit or try to avoid these 5 businesses, so-called Miccha Vanijja. Miccha Vanijja means the first one is the avoiding of selling any arms or any materials that cause killing, like trafficking weapons or dealing with the weapon. Second one is the trafficking human beings or slaves. Third one is trading animals and for slaughter. And the fourth one is trading intoxicants, drugs and alcohols, and trading poison. And also the poison, not only the poison, but also can be translated as a fraud. So these are the 5 wrong businesses that the Buddha spoke about, that these are the wrong commerce or immoral trade one should avoid if possible. That these trade can cause distress for human beings and animals, and as such should be avoided by practitioners. And for the first time yesterday, while I was walking on the Union Street, I came to know that there is this specific house in Aberdeen city center that used to keep children for the slaves trading in the ships or other parts of the world, which I never thought about it. I thought that the slave trades are only in African and Asian countries, but in the heart of Aberdeen. Amazing. And I was shocked to know that history. So these should not be done. Rather, living a simplistic life, restraining our desires or ability to be mindful of our desires, our senses, and contentment on the things that we have. So the idea is not about absolutely living a poverty, but avoiding endless a craving that we have. So which is, again, a craving is the main root cause of the troubles. But rather, Buddha encouraged us to practice generosity or merit, acquiring a merit. So, however, we have to remember here that any business that we do should be in line with the Dhamma, but not committing all these 5s, because the Buddhism do not condemn wealth itself, but and also Buddha encourage us to earn wealth honestly, save wisely, avoid debts, support family and communities, and practice generosity. That's what I was talking yesterday morning, that we have to work hard, diligently working and saving them for protecting them for us, for ourselves, and having a good friends and ability to manage the wealth properly. So in that way, that sense, these wrong businesses that the Buddha is talking about, all the five, should be avoided by all means if possible. Trafficking weapons called sattha vanija, which the current day would be like dealing with the arms and all this missionary arms that are dealing, and which is again one of the main cause of a conflict and wars in the world. Surprisingly, we all play a part in that business, one way or another. And this is again because of the maximization of the wealth of the country. We may not like to go on a war or support the war or a military, but each and every penny that one person is paying for the tax or pension schemes, all those money, they also want to maximize the wealth. So in that light, when they are investing, so they often go towards these massive productions, and that brings more wealth. So that's the reason we are also indirectly part of that production too. So, but however, I'm not saying that you should not put for the pensions, and I'm not saying that you should not put for the insurances. But indirectly, we are also part of that, the trafficking or the building of these arms or machineries, ballistic machineries as well. The guns and swords and explosive materials, and even the animal traps also count in this number one, so-called trafficking the weapons or dealing with the weapons. And the second one is the sattva vanija, which is the human trafficking or the dealing with the slaves. So, and this is very unjust trade in a human being for commercial gain, trading in slaves, abusive or exploited trade and mutual working, trading women or children for the sex industry and so on. And this is again a difficult one to deal even in a current world. Human trafficking, it was in the history, in the past, and again it continued, and it was one of the massive industry about a couple of 100 years ago, and it abolished. But again, that's officially abolished, but inside each communities have got such practices going on in different forms, in different ways. So these, and one of the hardest part will be the abusive or exploitation in the manual works in different parts of the world. Even in the UK, recently I read one research about the people trafficking in the UK. They are working like slaves, and they are not paid much but working so hard. And not only that, people working cash in hand, and they have to work so hard but yet paid very little, and so on. And women and children also are in terms of the sex trafficking or sex industry everywhere. You can see, regardless of any one community. Sometimes we try to not to see in our face, but we also become a part of it too. So this is also a very hard one. There are many women that I come across, and they come to express their their pains and their sadness, but yet they can't escape from this industry due to the pressure and the control. And same with the children are also exploited quite a lot here. Even in Aberdeen, I come across with quite a few female the girls that under this pressure and then the drugs. They've been taking the drugs, and which again cause quite a lot of trouble, not only for themselves, to the family and the community, and even the government has to provide quite a lot of support, and which is sad. And again, they cannot come out. They are like emotionally and physically harmed, and they are in danger if they do not continue that. So that's again, this is the one that Buddha strongly said that should avoid such industry. And the third one is trading animals for slaughter. And again, this is may not be or difficult to apply for the farmers in the Scotland, because they have there's massive farmlands and farming these animals for slaughter. Even here, when I remember a couple of years ago, there were some cows behind the cottage, and giant cows. And then when we go around the fence, they come. And then one day there was one gentleman came to visit us, and he said he saw this cow and said, "Delicious." Delicious meat. And I was just laughing. And sadly, after a couple of months, and they all taken away to abattoir, and that's sad. So anyway, these are also the one. This is also one should not be practiced according to Buddhism. That's again, it's like a killing other beings. If possible, give up, give up such a practice. About 10 years ago, my brother wanted to go on his business with his friends, and he bought about 30 cows for the slaughter, and I didn't know that until I was informed by other members of the village that you are a monk and your brother is doing such a business, that's inappropriate. So then I rang my brother, is that true? And he said true. So then I told him that if possible, give up. And luckily, my brother, after a year later, he come out from that business. And as soon as he came out from that business, somehow while he was digging the field, he broke his back. And some even said that it's because he was hitting those cows to tame the cows. So, but now after 2-3 years of treatment, now he's back to normal, but not normal. Can't do hard works anymore. So that's the, if possible, trading animals for slaughter should be avoided. And then the fourth one, again, this is quite a hard one for particularly the businessmen or running the businesses like restaurants. So that's called trading drugs and alcohol should be avoided. And it's, as we know, this brings quite a lot of revenue, and which is the reason restaurants can't can't not to have the selling alcohols. Otherwise, it'd be difficult. But nevertheless, having said that, doesn't mean that there aren't someone who is practicing such like our great benevolence, our great benefactor. She opened a street shop in Loughborough and completely free from alcohol, selling alcohols at all. And here, not only alcohols but also drugs and dealing with the drugs and all the opiums and heroines and cannabis are also taken as the business should be avoided. And the last one is the poisons and trading the toxic poisons that kills the creatures, and this is also should be avoided. However, has also been one of the great trading marks and maximize the wealth. Which is the reason people are investing quite a lot. And in a pharmaceutical company, this would be like the major income source. But when we look at the Buddha's principles, these should be avoided. And these businesses, these five, so the last one is the poison, and we should avoid. So along with these, then becomes 5 kinds of wrong businesses, which is oppressive, cruel, and inhuman. So these may bring a great wealth, but it should be avoided. So whatever businesses we do, it should be harmless, and we should be performing things more kindness and compassion. So that's why the Buddhist economics or a business, we can see that Buddhism is on a business based on ethics rather than a maximization of the wealth. So in Buddhist ethics generally favor of the sustainability and meaningful work, and reduces the consumption and community well-being and ecological balance. So that's why these are the things that we should be mindful of when we are doing the trades, and particularly if we are doing among these 5s, if possible, please reduce or come out from such practices as soon as possible, so that we also reducing others' suffering, and we are practicing moral practices that leads us to find the right path and right liberation eventually. So this is the 5 wrong businesses. I will end here for today, and now let's do the chanting.